Hi, hello, Mas Yahya. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, you're also audible. Thank you for being here in PyCon Indonesia 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'm going to give a quick introduction to the audience, and then you can start your talks. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Good day, and welcome to session 3 for day 2 of PyCon Indonesia 2020. My name is Zaki, and I will be the moderator for this afternoon session by Yahya Fadhluloh Al Fatih. Yahya is a software engineer lead at eFishery who wants to contribute to the society. He's passionate in tech, loves to work and manage it, and now he's here with us to deliver talks about the experience of Fast with FastAPI. Now I'm going to share your screen, Mas Yahya.
Yes.
Great, we can see it clearly.
Yes.
Okay, without further ado, the stage is yours, Mas Yahya. For the
Okay. Thank you so
participants,
much, Zaki.
keep those questions coming on Hopin platform. The
Mhm.
moderators team will collect them and we'll discuss it in a Q&A session. Let's give a big round of virtual applause to Yahya Fadhluloh Al Fatih.
Thank you. Thank you, Zaki. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming into my talk. For the next 30 minutes, I want to share my great experience with Fast API. It's the experience of Fast with Fast API. So first thing first, my name is Yahya. I'm software engineer lead at eFishery. eFishery is aquaculture startup in Indonesia. I love automate everything, and then I also work as development operation, software engineer, and also pen tester. And I really love working with open source. I also the creator of the Nemo, the question answer like Google form that built in WhatsApp. And I also collaborate in making of the TRF money. If you know about Metroid in Twitter, or usually called Odi, he is the creator of the TRF money, the tools that you can transfer between payment gateway, Yovo and Gojek. But currently we suspend this project. So let's begin. So I will talk first about my journey, how I come in love with Fast API. So it's begin with RAD, or usually called Rapid Application Development. RAD is software development process that focus with user feedback. So as you can see, after the requirement planning, there will be a looping for user design where prototype, development, and feedback, it will be looped until the user satisfied. It's simply like that. Okay, as long as with my experience with RAD, I found advantage and disadvantage about RAD. So it's simple like for the first advantage, the priorities customer feedback and then review are really quick and then development time drastically reduced. For the disadvantage about RAD is simply like big uncertainty and then only system which can be modified modularized can be developed using RAD, and then the most common things in RAD is developer burnout. So the big point with the RAD is like RAD is demanded to be quick, like everything need to be quick. So so when developer faced with the RAD, the challenging moment for developer is usually comes for a tricky point. The first is documentation, like how I build documentation so easy, like so everyone can read and change my code easily. And then the second is framework, so I don't need to build everything from scratch. And then the third is faster. Of course, everyone want tools that really faster. That mean like you build the app much faster and then can serve like 40K to 50K requests per second. Simple. So it's began my quest. It's like to find a framework that easy to maintain, clean, and faster. So my journeys began with the Twitter search. I just simply put the keyword like fast framework, simple like that. The result is really astonishing me. It's like for the very first result, it come. post about the Fast API from PY package, like talking about Fast API. It's a high performance, easy to learn, and fast to code. And then continue with test drive IO, the talking about many article about the Fast API. And then Michael Kennedy, the Microsoft developer, is also talking about Fast API. He also making a podcast about Fast API, and it's really interesting. And it feels like Fast API is everywhere. And for some research point, I just got the Tech Empower website that lists of a benchmark framework. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, that there is a composite framework scores, and then as you can see, there is an Fast API that ranked at 56, below above the Flask and Django, followed from the position of 90 and 98. So I conclude my 10-minute searching with just start using Fast API. So here is my talk about the Fast API. The Fast API is the modern and high performance web framework that built for API. And then Flash like web framework, Flash developer will be familiar with Fast API because many features is common like Flash. As you can see with the line code for the hello world is similar with the Flash. There is also a curated list of awesome things related to Fast API. And then, as I shared previously, Fast API is above Flask and Django as the best performance for Python framework in Tech Empower website. And then the Fast API comes with the generated documentation and also validation using type hint. This is really pretty interesting. And then Fast API is created by Sebastian Ramirez. You can see at Twitter as Tiangolo. I believe he created the Fast API with one of the main reason is to serving machine learning model in API. So before to start everything, you only need to use Python with version 3.6 or above and install pip. With pip, you must install Fast API and UVCurl. For development environment, usually we using virtual env, but I recommend using pip env. So you don't need to separate pip and virtual env. Okay, yeah. To start with Fast API, you can write this simple hello world like Flash. You can just start with define app with Fast API and then define route by simply using decorator to function. I just create the path route in here and then have a definition with function index and then just simply return message hello world. Okay, as you can see, this function have an async type. I will tell you about this more in the later. And the best part with the Fast API, you don't need to serialize dictionary to JSON. You just simply use the dictionary as Fast API will do all the work and convert this into JSON. And then, as you can see, I made a two route in here. First, pet index, and then second, it pet items with variable pet item ID. And this is how pet parameter work. And then with the function get item and then item ID with type variable of integer and then return with the item ID that requested to from the user. Okay, I will explain you from here. Hello. So as you can see that this is the simple code that I made for the hello world in the Fast API. So I will run this line of code. So I simply using the UV in here because we're running it asynchronous function. UV so I just simply put the UV main app there where the UV is the interface gateway. Wait a moment. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. I'm using the UV as the asynchronous gateway interface that support asynchronous. So I just simply call the hello world that I in here call the hello world and then call the app variable in here and then just run using UV. So it will run serving with this. Yeah, simply like that. And I just using this with dictionary. And then for the second items, I will use the 1, 2, 3. As you can see that it will also return items with the requested ID. Okay, so Fast API is also having generated documentation API using Swagger. So you will never have a burden to create a documentation in API, in Fast API. So you just simply open the slash docs. As you can see, there is will be a generated documentation, open Swagger, that I see that from here I have the index path and then items to get item for the item ID. And you can to try it in here and then simply put the item ID and then you can see the response body in here. Yep. You will figure out how to add label in the Swagger API like this. You can just simply add the doc string in the source code like this. And then you can also export open API JSON like this. And then you can add also the body example to the Swagger with the doc string also. And then you can also use the authentication for the documentation. So it's easy to set up and you can keep going on the focus for the hard part. Okay, for the next part is custom documentation. As I shared with you previously, to simply using the custom documentation, you can use the docstring. The docstring in Python, you can simply use the this one in this part, and then you can like this one. Simple. It's very simple. Okay, for the next part is the very interesting part in the Fast API. One of the interesting part in Fast API is about the basic type in as validation. So the main point of this line of code is the request body definition and validation. So I made a simple data store in Fast API where path saving and then expense to write the data about expense my money and saving my money. As you can see, the line of code is like this. Wait, here. Yeah, at first line, I add the typing for the optional and then fast API and then pydentic as the typing validation using base model. And then I made some variable in here, piggy bank for storing my data and then class account for the request body and then it's like we need like index with type hint integer and then with default value of none and then following with name del with following the type hint and then as you can see I add more path in here path index to get the piggy bank and a simple piggy bank that I just get from the which index of the list I get and then uh, I add a pet saving to and pet expense to store the data saving and data expense. Simple like that. So this is how it works. Okay, let's see from the docs. I have this path get for index and then post for saving. First, I will tell you about the saving. In here, it has the example value of index, name, date, description, price, and category as I told about this class account. So this class account is as the body request. So you can try it out in here. I will only put the name, date, and price. I will post the saving data. Okay. Now I secure. It's simple like that. So the response body, it will show the data in the message and the new saving is set. So for this line of code, that you can see that price is with type in of log. So how the validation work? You can try it with using the value of string. I say I will put the string in here. Now I execute this. You can see the server will respond with the validation error with code 42, and then response body will show it the value is not valid float, and then the app will never crash. As you can see, the app never crash. It just return for the 42 status code. Simple. So as the type and validation here, you can simply just define the type in of the variable, and then the FastAPI will do all the work, how the validation work. So that's it. That's how the type and validation work in FastAPI. Simply like that. It will never crash the app. It will just return the error of the validation. So the other interesting part in FastAPI, you can also define the query function as request or query definition. As you can see, I put the index in here with the function get piggy bank with the parameter start with type hint of integer with the default value of 0, and then continue with n with the type hint integer with continue with the function of query. It's the query function in FastAPI that handle query definition. As you can see, it has value of default value of 10 with GA equal 10, 0. So it will work like this. So the index is only serving the data saved when saving an expense created. We'll like making a lot of data in here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So there is 20 data in uh, piggy bank right now, but the index only serve 10 data. As you can see, there is only index from 0 to 9. And you can define the query like this. So there is query parameter valid in this is start and end, and you can just simply use start with, you can define 4, or and you can define with 6. You will only show the data from index 4 to 6. This is how query definition work in FastAPI. So you can use more like 50 to show all the data. So the interesting part also in the FastAPI, you can see from this function query is also served with the GA variable. GA it mean greater equal. So this mean this definition it mean that this en variable shouldn't be less than 0. So I will, for example, I will put the -1 in here. It will return error with the validation error to ensure this value is greater than or equal to 0. Simple like that. Okay. Right. Yep. As you can see, if you explore more about type and validation is in FastAPI, FastAPI will make you more understanding with the type in, which is very good. And the only validation working in FastAPI You just need to write the type in. That's simple. And FastAPI will do all the work, and the app will never crash. Simple like that. That's how type and validation work in FastAPI. So, when I start to develop the Fast API, I have another problem. Like I'm at my project start toolkit in Flask is like the standard of CRUD or helper. So this makes me only using Flask to start project. But in Fast API, you can also include the Flask or any WSGI into the Fast API. As you can see, I only need to import the WSGI app and then mount to the specific path. Simple like that. This part, I just import my Flask app and then mounting to the specific route, and then include the WSGI middleware in here. Simple. But the problem is the WSGI never generated documentation from for the in the Swagger OpenAPI. I'll show you the example.
Masahia, can you increase the font size if possible?
Oh yeah. Which one should I increase the font size?
The terminal?
Okay, one moment. Yeah, I think this is enough, right? Yep. As you can see, I add the main app in here that also include to mount the Flash app in this one. So I run the server. You can see I just simply add C1 in here, and then this will return from the Flash. But the problem is, as I told before, it will never add it into the Swagger UI. As you can see, there is no V1 in here, only the route that generated in the Fast API. Okay, so oops. Hey, so it's just simple like that. To including the Flash app to the Flash API, so you can just start like using Fast API right now if you Flash developer. Cool. So the next one is deployment for the Fast API. In the documentation, actually, there is many method or way to deployment the Fast API, but the fastest one for me is like deployment using Docker. You see, you just using the from Python in here with the Alpine, and then I install the configuration, and then I just simply run the pip and install ppnv, and then I just copy all my workspace in here, and then I just copy my module in here and then install to the system. And then, so as you can see, I use entry point in here instead of cmd. So for the next time, I can add another argument into the Docker run. This is the entry point for to run on the production, simply like that. So with this Docker file, you just simply to make this and then take it, run it on the server or the Kubernetes cluster. Simple. Okay, for the next one, this is the very interesting part in the Fast API. Is the asynchronous in Fast API. So As long as I share about FastAPI, you will a little unfamiliar about the asynchronous in Python. The best thing to explain asynchronous in Python is to tell you about the async await and coroutine in Python. I will show you how this works by get the post list on the subreddit. Right? As you can see, if I access Reddit slash r, let's say programming. Wait a moment. Okay, right. So I just need to add .json in here. It will respond the data, the post, but in JSON version. So I will make this simple program to get the first 5 thread in Reddit with 3 subreddit, and let's see the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Oh, this, yeah, okay. So when you define a function with asynchronous or async in here, all the line code will work concurrently. Basically, you can control how it works. It will run together, and then asynchronous code will only work with asynchronous function. So you can add synchronous function between. So like I just can here example for the synchronous function get ready top sync. I just can't add this function to the asynchronous function. So every line of code in here should be working with asynchronous. So as you can see, this function get ready data async will call the get ready top function in here. Okay, so this get ready top is will get the thread in the Reddit for the JSON, and then as you can see there is a wait in here. So the asynchronous will work like this. It will run this line of code, and then this await it means that this line of code shouldn't be run before this line of code is done execute. So after the get JSON this part, and then I will parse the data and then put it in the variable, simple like that. And I will put the start time and then the end time in here for us to see how long it takes with the asynchronous and the synchronous. So this part, as you can see, there is a function called async IO with getter. Getter is the function concurrently. So I need to run these 3 functions concurrently. It means like together running code, not sequential, this one first, and then the next one, it will run in one time. So this line of code is will be executed first, and then after this done, because it have the operate of await, and then next will close the client, and then will await, and then will return the data as the JSON as you can see here. So for the synchronous part is the same as above, but the difference is I'm using request in here, simple request data, and then the normal one will be run like sequential line of code. So it will start this and one by one waiting the line of code is executed and then return the all of data. Okay, it's simple like that. Okay, and then oops, sorry, I will run this simple with sorry. So there is 2 route in here. one with async, and then one with synchronous. I will run both of them together. Sync and async. You can see with the synchronous function, I will get the data read from the /r Python programming in Indonesia. It's simple like that. It just need like 1.5 seconds. The difference with async is really far. It's like the difference 1 second. It's much faster. It's the same. It will get the data from programming Indonesia and Python. I will simulate a little bit how this async work. So about this part, you will never know which one is end early. It can be programming first, Indonesia first, and Python first. As you can see, if I run this synchronous, it will always first Python and then programming and Indonesia. As I define in here, Python, programming, and Indonesia. But in this part, it will randomly, and which one and first it will serve first into data. As you see, programming Indonesia and Python, it will change again. Programming Python Indonesia, it will tell which one first and then serve that into the data. Simple like that. That's how simple to tell about how asynchronous working in Python, also with FastAPI. So uh, when you define the function with async, all the line code will work concurrently. Basically, you can control how it works. That's it. So when some line of code need to wait before to go the next line, you can use async await. For some example, you need to wait a file to load before go to the next line of code. So you can use await before the line of code. If you see, I used the gather function before that for to define the current concurrently function. Simple. That's simple how asynchronous work in FastAPI. Yeah. Yep, that's the difference of the asynchronous performance. That's really obvious. So for the last part is I will talking about a little bit about WebSocket as real-time data streaming. So I believe Sebastian Ramirez making the Fast API for a big purpose. I believe one of the purpose is for data streaming or saving data model for machine learning or deep learning. So I want to share about the WebSocket in Fast API so we can serve real-time data stream. So a little bit introduce about WebSocket. It's a different protocol to communicate from client to server. Usually with the HTTP protocol, a client will request and then server will respond. It's simple like that. Request and response, request and response. In WebSocket, you only need to initial your connection only once. And then you can stream data from server like forever without requesting it. This is called full duplex persistent. As you can see, there is a image in here. WebSocket only need to initial HTTP and then after handshake open connection, there is a reply from the server. There is only need one pipeline. That's called full duplex persistent that will send every data in there. This is why WebSocket is very fast and also, of course, low latency and easy. And of course, it's easy to implement in Fast API. So I'm gonna show you about how to implement this in a Fast API. So there is three file in here. First one, the WebSocket server with the open data from the measurement JSON. This is the data it will be served. This data will be served. It's simple. Like there is an index. Every index have a key value with random value in it. So I have two route in here. Index. It's simple. The index will respond with the HTML file. And how HTML file work? Simple like this. There is a library with the 3JS, and then I will make a chart in here. The main point in here, or the data in here. As you can see, I'm using the WebSocket in here. It's using the HTML5, the WebSocket. I open the connection to the localhost or 800 and then WS. And then this part, every server give the client data, it will serve to the chart. Simple like that. If every data is come from the WebSocket, it will serve to the chart. I just making a simple time chart in here. And then the WebSocket in FastAPI, you just simply define like this with the route slash WS, and then with asynchronous function, WebSocket endpoint, and then you need this parameter, and then I need a WebSocket to await. So it means I need to tell by the client if any OS or WS connection is served. And then after someone connecting to the server, it will always serve the data. As you can see, I do the while true in here, and then async IO sleep in here. So it means I have a delay to send a data like 0 0.1 second, 1 millisecond, I think. So after delay, I send this JSON data one by one. This part is send the JSON data. Here is the result. Here is the result. As you can see, the chart is always working. And as you can see, when in the network, it only need once this part. There is no request and response. There is no request and response like always sending the data. It just simply using WebSocket and your real-time data will be served. Simple like that. This data is come from this file JSON. Simple. Okay. Okay, that's how WebSocket work as real-time data streaming in FastAPI. So as I shared before, this is like the data streaming in the FastAPI. So for the last point in my presentation is like, so how fast is FastAPI? As I told before, there's an autocomplete type standard, generated API document, and then easy and short, also benchmarked by Tech Empower as best Python framework, and then automatic data validation. So other awesome is like including that I already share about WSGI Flash, and then unit testing, visual test about unit testing is really cool. And then custom response, and then you also can full stack with Fast API. So the last part, I'm working in here with many research, and then this all reference I get. It's also I get the real-time data streaming from the someone load, and then you can get all the resource material I already post in my GitHub. So that's my presentation. What do you think about Fast API? Thank you. Any question?
Well, thank you for the amazing talk that you have shared with us, Mas Yahya. I've personally never used Fast API, but from what you said, I could see that one nice features of Fast API for me is that we can use it as a standalone application that it does not depend on other apps like Django REST framework needs to depend on Django or Flask REST frameworks need to depend on Flask. And that's a nice thing for me.
Right.
Okay, then we've got some questions coming from the audiences. I'm going to share the first question to you from Rizky Faza. Is this framework proposes on web dev, or maybe it can be used in any implementation like IoT or maybe something else? What makes you want to choose this framework to develop your app? I believe you have partially answered the question, especially the last one.
Okay, I think I can share this with my point of view. This fast API, I choose this fast API for the main purpose, also for the serving the data and then the faster how I use. And then the main reason I use for fast API is for the serving notification in my company. So the notification need to be served as real time, right? You can have any delay for the notification. So the main reason I use the Fast API because I want to serve my data real time. Simple like that.
Okay.
So I think about the IoT, you can serve that because with WebSocket you can advance with Fast API. Yeah,
Okay, so our main reason is because for serving real-time data. Is that what you're
right.
saying? Right.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. And then second question from Denny Handoko. What makes Fast API better than Flask or Django? And does Fast API still use Redis or Celery for asynchronous?
Okay, for the first question is what makes a Fast API better than Flask or Django is simple, like from the Tech Empower website that telling about the benchmarking every uh, framework. The Fast API is ranked in position 56, and then Flask following with Django and Flask in 90 above. It's simple like that. And
Okay.
then Fast API is to use Redis Celery for asynchronous. No, there is a native function in Python called async.io.
Mm-hmm.
So Fast API using the native function for asynchronous await. Simple like that.
Okay, so Fast API uses async IO for the from the new Python. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because previously Python used Redis auxiliary because doesn't have like asynchronous features like that.
Yeah, yeah. As I told before, the Python using a native async IO. As you can see, there is a Python async IO in here. This one. Just simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Denny, if you want to learn more maybe about async IO, you can go to the Python documentation after the session. Okay. And then the last question from Wilarko Prasdikdo. How do you manage fast API for large project like project structure, database, middleware, etc.?
Okay. For the simple process, we have first. I actually never done this before, but the for the large project, maybe you can see the this part of the full stack fast API.
Mm-hmm.
But currently, I'm using the fast API only to serve the notification. There is a monorepo notification that I need to change the web server, and I change the web server with fast API. It's simple like that. So I never use this fast API for the large project. Maybe you can see from the this full stack fast API. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Wilarko, you can go to the GitHub repo of full stack fast API, and then you can see how it can be used for large project structure. Okay, well, what an awesome session, Mas Yahya. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. Thank you so much for the talk and also for all of the audiences who participate in this session. Allow me to close this session and see you on the next session. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you so much and try Fast API.
Will do.